This film is about Dumb Blue Car, an album that's been forming for the last 3 years. The songs that inspired the events on the album began in January 2018, when Real Face was just a baby. I was a transfer student at Geneva College in Humanities 103, and I sat next to this cute girl who loved reading The Death of Ivan Ilyich and also enjoyed pop punk music, so obviously I was going to be infatuated with her. In the fall, we began the romantic portion of our relationship, and the foundation that we built started to crumble. I honestly thought I was a pretty good dude who respected women and all that stuff, and was shocked to find out that I still had a lot of work to do myself. So I did what any rational person would do and started writing an album about all of my unresolved questions. I was convinced that I and others didn't need another breakup album, leaving us feeling like the victims of our ruthless exes. Thus, the Dumb Blue Car saga began. Here it is.
I can't control you, even though I've tried to, time and time again. You have your own mind and history besides mine to influence your end.
One of the most iconic TV relationships of our times is with Jim and Pam in The Office. Pam's in a crappy relationship with Roy, and Jim, a nice guy, waits around for a few seasons and swoops in, saves the day, and gets the girl. While overly simplified, this narrative is something that I definitely assumed to be reality. A lot of these songs are me wondering why I thought I could be the nice guy, and if anybody really should be the nice guy. At some point, I found out that my niceties were just image preservation, me hoping that I wasn't just as bad as Roy.
Now when I saw you in so much pain, I drew you close to me. I had some idea that I could take your problems and set you free. I romanticized the boy who saves the helpless girl and provides her with the perfect world. I have been seduced by the television screens.
With some space from Beaver Falls, I started writing the bulk of the record in Nashville while studying at the Contemporary Music Center.
Oh, hello.
Pretty good.
'Cause I don't need to be afraid anymore. I don't need to be afraid anymore. I don't need to be afraid anymore of who you think I am. I don't need to be afraid anymore. I don't need to be afraid anymore. I don't need to be afraid anymore of who I think you think I am.
The Nashville semester ended and I moved back to Beaver Falls. When I was in Nashville, I was under the impression that I'd completely moved on from that relationship that ended a whole year prior. Maybe it was Beaver Falls, or knowing she lived a half a mile away, or that I could see her dumb blue car if I looked hard enough for it. But all of a sudden I had the same anxiety again. Had I made any progress in the last year? Had I not processed it enough? If I've learned anything from 2020, it's that time, loss, and healing don't have a linear progression upwards and to the right. Some days are hard, other days aren't. Some days I'm angry, other days I'm grateful. It's hard to know what to do with the unresolved, messy parts in life, but I'm starting to accept that they're all part of this. In May 2020, I traveled out to Warsaw, Indiana to start recording Dumb Blue Car with my best friends in the whole world.
Justice instead of ending, still I move close.
Later that summer, I ventured out to Nashville to start recording with John Lewis and Ben Mariano.
Potential sparks don't actualize. Still I wonder why you left so many things unsaid inside. Let's talk.
They weren't anxious about getting the perfect takes immediately or doing it quote-unquote right. They just were having fun. They were playing around and trying new things. Making music with John and Ben was a chance to try things. Malachi Kagio recorded acoustic guitar, Jake Rosmus did too, Claire Lyons recorded violin parts, Kate Williams rounded out the whole orchestra and added cello, viola, and more violins. Eddie Anderson recorded trumpet and some Spanish vocals. David Parker, he recorded some mandolin. Rochelle Burks added some djembe. Patrick and Rachel, my siblings, recorded choir vocals. Chris, my brother, recorded beefy guitars with his 9-string. Christian Fry recorded ambient swelly guitars. Sawyer Norman recorded creepy baby voices. Hannah Weir of Formerly Bodies recorded vocals on My Own World. Rebecca Vaught recorded vocals on I Don't Need to Be Afraid Anymore. And then my friend Ben, he added programming and mixed the record. This album could not have been made by myself. While it used to be really hard for me to let go of control when making music with other people, after this year of making Dumb Blue Car, I've come to really prefer that style of collaboration. If you haven't caught on yet, there's always a movement in the Real Face albums. If I was to characterize the movement in Dumb Blue Car, it would probably be something like control to acceptance. John Bryant, my pastor, talks a lot about how our natural state as humans is to sit on this judgment seat in our minds, deciding all day if we're good or bad, or if we've done enough good things or bad things to deserve to sit at the table. We, or I, do this thinking that it will soothe our anxieties, but it only ever inflames them. The issue lies in the assumption that the judgment seat was ever mine to sit in to begin with. When living with too much control, that simple car takes on way more meaning than it was ever supposed to. What was just a breakup becomes something that tells me who I am and where I'm going. But it doesn't have to. Now I know I have a choice. When I'm reminded of those memories, I can pretend that I'm the judge or learn to accept what happened. This album didn't make my problems go away. I still bounce back and forth between the whole anger and denial and acceptance and forgiveness and all those things. But it did show me that my judgments aren't the point. What would it look like if God was the one who sat in the seat and made the judgments over my life? What if He had the final word over who I am? What if I never even needed to decide if I was good or bad? Maybe I can be wonderful and terrible at the same time, and that tension is what it means to be human. I'm starting to learn that there's so much freedom in self-forgetfulness.